And I would like to invite Vassi. And I am doing this skipping teams because I wanted to invite Vassi. Vassi works with me. This is her first time to present. We're Eastern European. We're from Eastern Europe, so a little bit of accent and toughness won't hurt. She'll do a great job. So, Vassi. Yes.
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I hope you had a good time in the cadaver lab this morning. Okay. I already had the pleasure to meet some of you, and I'm looking forward to get to know the rest of you during the hair conference. Okay, my name is Vassi, and I'm a medical assistant with Dr. Lev. I'd like to share some of your experience with, I'd like to share some of my experience with you. And I hope you'll feel some of the same passion that I do about this job. I love hair transplant surgeries. I love the challenge and the creativity it involves. Some of you may think all hair transplant surgeries are basically the same, but in fact, you know, every patient is different. So we have the fun challenge to be creative, to create a unique approach for every single patient in order to get the best results. Okay, so let's start it. Okay, so today we're going to talk about three main duties of the hair transplant assistant. First, evaluating and measuring the donor tissue, projecting the total numbers of grafts we'll be getting from the tissue, and monitoring for the consistency in the production of grafts. Okay, evaluating the hair density. The tissue can be with consistent hair density, and we may have also tissue with inconsistent hair density. And I'll show you some pictures actually with a tissue with consistent and inconsistent hair density. Next thing, we'll be measuring and recording the total length of the donor. And if you have if we have any big difference in the color, density, or the quality of the hair, we'll be just separating those blacks from the donor tissue by those qualities, and we'll keep them separate. So that's the picture. We have a hair with consistent density, and clearly you can see the density of the hair is the same along the entire length. And over here I have a picture of a donor with inconsistent hair density. The hair on your right side is denser than the hair on the left side. And actually I took a 2 cm black from the denser part and 2 cm black from the sparser part. And I put them together so you can see the difference between both hair densities. And also we may have a patient with scar in the donor area. And clearly also you can see there's no hair growing in the scar. Next thing, once we evaluate the donor tissue, the hair density of the donor tissue, we'll be measuring and recording the length of the donor. The way how we're measuring without the ends. And also you have to make sure the width of the donor is consistent along the entire donor. And next, after those things, we'll be dissecting the donor to a 2 cm blocks. Once we're done with those 3 steps, we'll be ready to project the number of grafts. And I'll give you a few formulas you can actually use when you have a donor with consistent hair density, donor with inconsistent hair density, and donor with scarring. Okay, the principle will be always the same. First step, you always have to measure and record the total length. Next thing, you have to evaluate the hair density. You'll be sectioning the donor to a 2 cm blocks. You have to count how many 2 cm blocks you have, and that will be your N. That's multiplier N you can use later on to project the numbers of grafts. Next thing, you dissect these 2 cm blocks into FUGs and DFUs. And the last step, you just have to get the numbers together and just project the numbers together. Okay, so I know it's a little bit confusing, but don't worry, you'll get it. Your light bulb will go on. Okay, so that's the first formula actually. you can always use when you have a donor with consistent hair density. So first step will be always the same. You'll be measuring and recording the total donor length. Second step, you'll take 2 centimeter long strip or block and dissect this 2 centimeter into a grafts. And next step, you have to divide actually the total donor length by 2, and that will give you your N multiplier. You have to also count the numbers of grafts from these 2 centimeters and multiply them by N. And you can clearly see how you can do that. First, you divide the total donor length by 2, and that will give you N. And to project the total of 1 hair grafts, you have to multiply the total of the number of grafts from the 2 centimeter block by N, and that will give you the total of 1 hair grafts from you can get from the total donor length. The same thing for 2 and 3 hairs, and if you have a diffuse, the same. You have to, and to get the total number of grafts, you just add all the numbers together. And that's the example. We had a patient with consistent hair density. The total length of the donor was 20 centimeter, and I took 2 centimeter block and they set this 2 centimeter to 1, 2, and 3 hairs, and that's the numbers we got for 1 hair is 27, for 2 hairs 110, and for 3 hairs 31. And to project the total numbers of grafts, first we'll divide the 20 centimeter, that's the total length of the donor, by 2, and we're getting N, which is 10 in this example. And to project the total numbers in 1 graft, you'll be getting from the total, from the entire donor, you'll just multiply the 27 by 10, and that's 207 in this example. The same for 2 and 3 hairs. And to estimate the total numbers of grafts, you just put all the numbers together. Easy. It's simple. Okay. Who likes pie? Okay. What's your favorite kind of pie?
Oh my gosh. I like the cream pies.
Okay, good. What have you?
Lemon meringue.
Oh, there you go. I like cherry, actually. That's my favorite. So if I slice the pie and I take 1 piece and the piece is cherry, that means the rest of the pie will be cherry. So it's very easy. Like consistent hair density. So that's the formula you can always use when you have a donor with inconsistent hair density. First, you will be measuring and recording the total length. That's always the same. Second, the second step will be a little bit different. You're taking 2 centimeters from the denser part and 2 centimeters from the sparser part. And you will dissect these 2 sections to a graft. You have to count the grafts of each section and just multiply these numbers by N. So that's the formula. First, you divide the total length of the donor by 4. Why by 4? Because we have 2 sections which are 2 centimeters each. So 2 plus 2 equal 4. And that will give you N. And to project the total of 1 hair graft, you just have to add the 1 hair graft, the numbers of 1 hair grafts from the first 2 centimeters and the number of 1 hair grafts from the second 2 centimeters and multiply them by N. That will give you the total 1 hair graft. The same for 2 hairs and 3 hairs, and if you have a diffuse, you have to do the same. And to project the total numbers of grafts, simple, just put all the numbers together. And I have an example also for you. We had a patient with inconsistent hair density, and we took 26 centimeters long donor. I took 2 centimeter blood from the denser part and 2 centimeter blood from the sparser part, and that's the numbers of 1, 2, and 3 hairs we was dealing from these 2 pieces. And you can clearly see from the denser part we're getting more numbers than from the sparser part, 1, 2, and 3 hairs. So to project the total numbers of grafts, first we have to divide the total length, 26, by 4. Why? Because we have a 2 centimeter blocks, and that will be 6, and again our N. Then multiply with 6.5 sections. And to project the numbers of 1 hairs, you just have to put the 27 from the dense part and 15 from the sparser part. That's the 1 hair graft we're getting, and multiply them 6.5. And that's the numbers we got for 1, 2, and 3 hairs. And to estimate the total numbers, you just add